Hey everyone, happy Saturday evening. Hopefully you're all snug and nestled in your beds. And I'm not going to say the whole Christmas thing because obviously we're beyond Christmas. But it is definitely going to feel like it with some wintry weather inbound to the Tri-Cities. And I wanted to do this Facebook Live, the whole team did, to kind of give you an update on what is the latest, what are we expecting. And as always, we want to start with what's going on right now because in order to kind of push things into the future, you have to see what's going on out the window, so to speak. So we're going to look at radar here, and I'm looking at a screen off of your screen there. So that's what I'm looking at. I promise I'm not just randomly looking off in space. But you can see the winter storm bringing impacts anywhere from northwest Arkansas, basically through much of the natural state and my old stomping grounds. And you can see the system kind of spinning around. We also have quite a bit of rain associated with this system that's moving into parts of Tennessee. At the moment, we are dry, but notice we're already starting to see a little bit of a transition over here to some light snow showers for parts of southwest North Carolina. That is going to continue to advance our way as we go through the overnight and into our early Sunday morning. For the Tri-Cities, we're not going to see as much snowfall because we're going to be dealing with more warm air. For them across the mountains, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of cool air through much of the entire duration of the event, and so snowfall totals will be higher because of that for especially the mountains of North Carolina. So you can see that the rain showers and snow showers are going to continue to kind of push towards our region. They'll be moving in early on our Sunday. So that's kind of what we've got going with radar. And now I'm going to go to, did I update that? That should have, I'm trying to think, is that the latest? Oh, that is not the latest. Did I not post the update?
What's going on?
So this should say like updated, because I updated around 9.
Yeah, it should be up there. Just keep going down.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's it. Okay, so it is the right thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yes. So we're on our website, obviously, and this is on our weather page. This is our weather blog that I detailed this morning, breaking down everything, and I just updated around probably about 9 o'clock with all the latest model data that came in. Not much has changed. The forecast is pretty much locking in at this point, and they'll just be fine-tuning as we go into the day tomorrow. Of course, there are things such as where does the snow band? When do we see the transition over to snow? Is it quicker? Is it slower? That's all going to impact snow totals, obviously, and we have live team coverage through the entire day tomorrow, and we're going to get you through it with all of our shows. We'll have, of course, the 6 to 8 a.m. shows, and then we'll have the evening shows as well. Regular newscasts on our weekend. Plus, we'll be doing behind-the-scenes things such as Facebook Lives throughout the day and continuing to keep you updated as we continue to work through this winter storm. So we have live team coverage for you in all of our newscasts, and then we'll continue to keep you updated throughout the day. So there's a nice video here. It's like 7 minutes long. I painstakingly went through all of the details. So if you just want to watch the video and listen and watch the video, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm just going to go through some of these things. First of all, winter alerts. So winter storm warning encompasses much of all of Southwest Virginia. And you can see it does extend down into parts of northern East Tennessee and then across the mountains of East Tennessee as well. And then as we go into the Carolinas, we're seeing also the winter storm warning exist and stretch all the way across parts of North Carolina as well. Here in the Tri-Cities, more properly, we are seeing this purple. This is a winter weather advisory. Now, the difference between an advisory and a winter storm warning is going to be the amount of snowfall expected. So less snowfall, this is already telling you less snowfall is expected from the National Weather Service, and I agree with this, for parts of the Tri-Cities because we'll see a downsloping wind, a warming wind, and a drying wind, and that is all going to fight our snowfall totals. So it's what we call a snow eater. The wind, that southeast wind, will eat our snow totals very easily. And unfortunately, we're not going to see as much if you want to see snow. If you don't want to see snow, fortunately for you, we won't see as much. But the mountains of North Carolina, parts of Southwest Virginia, they could see colder air a little longer. And so because of that, snowfall totals could get up to about 6 inches, and some spots are higher. And so that's what that winter storm warning is out there for, issued by various National Weather Service offices in our coverage area. So winter storm warning, we're surrounded by them here in the Tri-Cities, but all of us expecting winter weather as we go into the day tomorrow. These go into effect tomorrow morning, Sunday morning early, and then they stick around until about Monday around 7 o'clock. For much of us, these will then expire, so to speak. And after, of course, the event is ending, we could see some more snow after they expire, but for the majority of the event, that will be during the day tomorrow and into early Monday morning as things start to move out. What are we looking at? So this is the latest update as far as snowfall totals. We're looking at, again, the highest snowfall totals being concentrated really across the mountains of North Carolina. Notice Mountain City, 12 to 18 inches. Now, remember, these are forecast totals, so these aren't set in stone, but it gives you an idea of where you can expect the most snowfall as we go in tomorrow. So I went to get dinner tonight. I saw somebody from Roane County, Tennessee, definitely going to be seeing much more snow than us here in the Tri-Cities. As you get up into those higher elevations, they'll be colder longer. They're going to be seeing snow longer. Because of that, snowfall totals will be higher. So they'll see snow through much of the day tomorrow in some of these areas. Burnsville actually came down. It was up to 24 inches earlier today, but latest models kind of trended downward on that. Now, as you get towards the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in, say, Carter County, Washington County, maybe not so much Washington County, but down into Unicoi County, some of those places could see some elevated snowfall totals, about 4 to 8 inches there, possibly. And then some places kind of intermediary up to a foot there, again, once you get up into the mountains. But then once you get down into basically the highlands here across much of the Tri-Cities, with that southeasterly wind, we're expecting the snowfall totals to be very, very limited. So maybe 1 to 2 inches of snowfall. Most of that is going to arrive as we go into our Sunday evening. Now, we could see a little bit of light freezing rain, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Moving up into Southwest Virginia, again, widespread 1 to 2, maybe more, depending on how quickly we change over and how quickly that cold air builds in. And that's something our team is going to continue to keep you updated on. Jeremy will be in the morning, Mark will be in the evening, and I'll be out reporting in the evening as well, giving you a look live at what it looks like out in parts of our area. Now, up into the mountains of Southwest Virginia, you could see 2 to 4 inches. Some places locally higher, 4 to 8 as you get into maybe the extremely high elevations of Southwest Virginia. And then as you build your way back towards the Blue Ridge Mountains, such as Bluefield, down to Marion, just south of Marion there, 12 to 18. But notice now, Marion is encompassed in some of this purple. That's when you start getting up into above 8 inches of snow. So Marion could see some significant snowfall from this. And so that stretch from Abington to Marion up through Wytheville, that's going to be a little bit dicey there on I-81. So make sure to use caution. Pay attention to VDOT. They're going to update their maps and keep you updated. We'll keep you updated if we find out anything on that as well. Bluefield anywhere up to a foot. So the Blue Ridge Mountains down into the southern Appalachians, which is still part of the Blue Ridge, we're still going to see over a foot of snow in some of those locations. But for the Tri-Cities, it will be very limited, maybe 1 to 2 inches, maybe 3. And then as you get closer into the mountains, that's where you start seeing the snowfall totals drastically increase. And that's been something we've been telling you about much of the week, is that as you go into the mountains, that's where the snowfall totals are going to be the highest. So that's our snowfall totals. As far as impacts go, this evening, just really cloud cover, cooler temperatures. I think we cool off into the upper 20s. Maybe a few snow showers possible in parts of the mountains, but for the most part, we're going to stay dry. Then as we go into, there's those temperatures dropping into the upper 20s as we go into the overnight. And then tomorrow, we're only getting into the upper 30s through the day. We are going to warm through the day. So it'll start off with some freezing rain, possibly, especially if we see mid-20s, upper 20s. That's where we have to watch out for freezing rain accumulation. It would be very light if we see any of it, and it would be more concentrated in the higher terrain of Southwest Virginia, and it looks like at this point up into the Piedmont of the Carolinas. I have a map on that for you. I'll show you in just a bit. But you can see we're starting off with wintry weather, kind of, and then a mix to rain. So it will transition all to rain by the afternoon hours because of the warmer temperatures fighting back in. That southeasterly wind, a drying wind, a warming wind. And so all of that fights our snow chances. And then as we go into the evening, temperatures then fall back to below freezing, around freezing. And so we'll start to see that transition of the whole atmospheric column to colder air as it really spills in. And folks, we're talking some cool air as we go into the week. You'll see the 7-day down at the bottom, but there's the potential for some of those icy conditions, Southwest Virginia, back down into the Piedmont of Carolinas, around I-77, I-40. If you know anybody that lives in that area, it could be a little icy there. Go ahead and give them a heads up. But as we go into the morning, you're just going to see these gradual snow basically continue to move in. What we saw on radar, that'll be moving in as we go into our Sunday morning. Notice these northeasterly winds across the mountains. That's what's going to keep them cooler. And then here across Tennessee, we're seeing rain because temperatures are going to be a little warmer, especially with those southeasterly winds. As we go into the morning, we could see some of that light rain freeze. So a freezing rain profile is basically rain, and then right at the surface, you have freezing temperatures or below freezing temperatures. And so elevated surfaces, typically the bridges and overpasses, that'll get slick first. But that period of freezing is going to be very minimal because things warm up through the afternoon. Notice by 11 o'clock, we're not seeing a whole lot of rain or any mixed bag of precip across the Tri-Cities, and that's because of those southeasterly winds coming up the Appalachians here. So they rise up on the eastern side. That's upslope. That's going to enhance snowfall totals for them in North Carolina. But then as it tops over the mountains and descends, it dries and it warms. Both are enemies of snow. You don't want warm temperatures and you don't want drying. And drying is going to eat up a lot of that rain. So don't be surprised tomorrow afternoon if you get out of, say, church services and maybe aren't canceled or doing any activities. You walk outside and you're like, there's a winter storm outside. There's nothing falling from the sky. It's because of that dry, downsloping wind. And then as we go into the later portions of the afternoon, we could, again, see some additional rainfall. But really, as we get into the evening hours, that's when we're going to see the transition over to snow. So notice by about 6 o'clock, we're going to be seeing light to moderate snow across parts of especially southwest Virginia, eastern Kentucky. That'll be moving itself into the Tri-Cities. And tomorrow night, Sunday night, I think is going to be the best chance for the Tri-Cities proper to see the snowfall accumulations, those valley locations. Now, of course, the mountains have been seeing snowfall through much of the day already, and so it'll stay snowfall for them, but for us it's the transition. And the question that we still have to answer as we go through the day tomorrow is, how quickly does the cold air build in? Does it build in quick enough that we see transition almost instantly to snow? If that happens, we'll see higher snow totals across parts of the valley locations of the Tri-Cities. Does it lag? Does the warm air kind of fight back a little longer? Well, if that's the case, we'll see less snowfall totals. Does the dry air take over? These are all things that are just going to, at a hyper local level, that are very difficult for models to kind of distinguish. And so it's kind of be one of those, it's what we call, hyper or forecasting, basically nowcasting. So you're forecasting from what you're seeing on radar into the future. And so we're going to have to see where those heavy snow bands set up. Where do they set up? If they set up across parts of, Tennessee Valley, we'll see more snow because of the heavy banding of snow. And it's one of those things, again, we just have to, the models do very poorly on trying to figure out where the banding is going to set up. And so that could be something that leads to more snowfall totals throughout the evening. And then by about the 11 o'clock hour, by the time we're going on for our CBS newscast in the evening, we are going to be seeing those all snow. All of us will be seeing snow across the Tri-Cities, and that continues through the evening. I broke down each of the regions here, the mountains, you have Southwest Virginia, and then the Tri-Cities based on what we can expect through our Sunday. And then as we go into Monday, the snow continues for the first part of our morning. We'll get a break. And then another quick moving system basically moves in, bringing enough lift, and we're going to be all cold this time. So, of course, that means additional snowfall accumulation. Not anything very surprising, not anything too impactful, just a little bit of light snow, maybe dusting accumulation on top of what we already have. And that'll be ending as we go into Monday evening. And then delays and cancellations could be possible. You can click on this link that'll take you to our closings and delays page. Right now, there's a bunch of church closings on there. And then one thing I'll put on here is to keep in mind if you travel I-26 into North Carolina, that next morning, Monday morning, is going to be, if they get over a foot of snow in some of those places like Sam's Gap, any of the high passes over into the Carolinas, those roads are going to be completely covered in snow. So give time for crews to kind of clear out the roads. I would wait until maybe the afternoon hours before you start trying to venture over into North Carolina, if you can help it. If you can't, then just take it extremely slow and know that the roads are probably going to be completely snow covered. I wouldn't be surprised to see road closures for them to clear some of the snow off as well. And so that's because of all the snowfall that we'll be seeing. So keep that in mind as you go down into the Carolinas. You'll be seeing greater snowfall totals there. And then there's your 7-day forecast. So snow ending there on our Monday. We get a break Tuesday. Look at these temperatures, folks. 32 is a high on our Martin Luther King Day, and then Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And then you can see on Tuesday, upper 30s, mid 40s there. Wednesday, it'll be all rain Wednesday, and then into Thursday, Wednesday night into Thursday is when the cold air starts to work its way in. We'll see transition to all snow. And then Friday system's interesting. We could see, I think we see snow for sure. We're going to be cold enough. Look at these temperatures, upper 30s, mid 30s, upper 30s as we go into the weekend, in teens for morning lows. And so I do think it is a possibility, likely possibility, that we'll see more snow and we could see more accumulation. How much? We're just too far out at this point. We need to focus on system number 1 before we focus on system number 2. But I put it in there. And then, of course, we'll around the clock coverage. So there you go. I went through the whole blog. Van, do we have any questions? I know people I probably put them to sleep, but.
Well, there's not a whole lot. There was one guy saying that he is heading towards the DC area tomorrow, and he said he had heard of some freezing rain forecasted,
Yep.
possible slick conditions.
Yeah, especially for the early morning hours, that's going to be a concern. So if you can avoid traveling in the morning, wait until temperatures start to warm up. But you definitely want to get through Southwest Virginia before some of those higher accumulations start to really total up as we go through the day. So maybe not the early morning hours, but mid-morning if you can leave, if you can wait to leave till mid-morning, and kind of push through before most of the afternoon and evening comes, when we see all those significant snowfall totals, especially on I-81, if that's the route you're using, those places near Wytheville, Marion, they could see some pretty high snowfall totals. And so you'll be driving through that, and you don't want to drive through heavy snow and a mess. So I would leave maybe mid-morning, and that should avoid a lot of the icy conditions. But, of course, just use caution. If it looks wet or kind of shiny as you go over bridges, just don't slam on the brakes. Don't accelerate or slam on the brakes. Kind of just keep the car coasting over it. And then once you get on the other side of the bridge, you can go ahead and, apply your brakes as you can safely. Those would be those winter weather driving tips that I would give you. Coming from my limited winter weather driving, I did drive through a couple snow on the road and stuff like that up in northwest Arkansas, and then my family's from Connecticut, so my mom is so. And my nana is. So we're familiar with winter weather, but those are all, those are tips that they tell you as far as driver's ed. Don't slam on your brakes. That's what causes you to skid on ice there. But I think the main concern with the accumulation of freezing rain is going to be, again, early morning, and it's going to be on those bridges and overpasses for the most part. Now, if you get into the Carolinas, that's where you start seeing more of the cold and then the warm over the cold, and you get those profiles for freezing rain, and you'll see a little bit more accumulation. But as far as going to DC, depending on your route and where you're coming from, if you're going on I-81, again, I think it's just the bridges and overpasses that you have to watch out for.
See, we had one more just come in. He said he's going from Blumpville to Kingsport Monday morning around 6 a.m.
So Blumpville to Kingsport, they're in that winter storm warning. It just depends on where the banding sets up. As we go into the morning hours, if there's heavy snow, keep that in mind. Give crews, if you can, a chance to kind of clear some of that off. TDOT will be working on that, I'm sure. And I'm sure they have crews. And in fact, I think we heard tonight, and we'll hear again at 11, that crews are getting ready. They're preparing. Or Amy Cockrum, she talked to some of the transportation officials, so we'll have that tonight at 11. After 11, because we have football that we have to wait for. But yeah, if you want to stick around for that, she'll have those. But I would just kind of monitor the road conditions, pull up T-dots or V-dots, no, in this case, would be Tennessee Department of Transportation. Pull up their map, and you can look at wintry weather and how the roads are being reported. Are they coated? Are they icy? It'll give you an idea, and then just use caution if you have to be traveling.
Yep, and I think that's basically it for the questions.
Okay. If you all have any other questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. Or I answered them all because of my detailed kind of breakdown of things. But yeah, we'll have the latest for you coming up after the game and those latest snowfall total accumulations. But not much has changed. The forecast is kind of more or less just little little kind of. I'm trying to think of the word. My brain is like fried. Little variations here and there, basically, kind of little micro adjustments as we get closer and closer and closer. And again, tomorrow, where's the band set up? How fast does a cold air build in? Those are questions we won't know until the event's actually going on. So, of course, you want to stay with us. We're going to keep everything updated on mobile, on social as much as we can. And I'll be out in the field as we go into the evening hours. So I'll be posting social media video and footage of the snow where I'm at and reporting on the conditions. Will also have other reporters out elsewhere as well, covering this winter storm. So,
and some people are asking, is there anything going on right now in the Tri-Cities area?
Negative. It is a quiet night across the Tri-Cities. It'll be cold, cloudy and cold. With temperatures supposed to be in those lower 20s. I'll show you the forecast for this evening. Actually, we can go back to radar, I suppose. So you can go to our interactive radar on our page. But right now, here is the Tri-Cities. And a few snow showers may be possible trying to show up or trying to materialize in parts of the mountains. Earlier, we did see some rain, snow showers across parts of southwest Virginia and East Tennessee. Those have since dissipated. But the main slug of rain and precipitation, snow, that's not supposed to come in until we go into the early morning hours. And more or less, it is on track forecast-wise. I'll zoom out so you can see here. We are starting to see the transition with the colder temperatures to snow showers, rain to snow showers up where my folks live, up in southwest North Carolina. So I'll have to ask them if they're seeing any snow. But this whole system is going to continue to push off to the northeast. And because of its positioning and everything, that's why we're going to see the fight with the warm air and not all snow because of where the positioning of this winter weather system is. The low pressure basically is going to track right over us, and that keeps us in warmer temperatures for a lot longer and those southeasterly winds until we can get on the backside of the system where we get the cold air to come in. But right now, across the Tri-Cities, cloudy, quiet, cooler overnight, upper 20s expected, but the event is not expected to start, not forecasted to start until we get into the morning hours of our Sunday. And really for the Tri-Cities, about 7 to 8 o'clock is when we could see some of that freezing rain, possibly on the bridges and overpasses. And I know a lot of churches have canceled services and taken precautions to cancel early services or Sunday school and maybe holding their late service. By then, we'll start to warm those temperatures up out of that critical range for freezing rain. So that's what's going on in Tri-Cities right now. It's pretty quiet. Maybe a few snow showers, rain showers kind of wrapping themselves up around southwest Virginia, parts of the higher terrain of the Carolinas and the mountains, some flurries maybe. I know there's definitely foggy conditions across parts of the ski slopes, but for the most part, across Tennessee, you can see the rain there, but we are starting to see that transition with the colder temperatures as basically the cold air is being dammed up against the Appalachians, what we call cold air damming, and it gets wedged. It's a wedge of cold air sitting on that east side of the Appalachians, and so we're already starting to see that cold air affect the system and transition that rain over to some light snow. So nothing going on right now. Pretty boring across the Tri-Cities. You can rest in peace knowing that there is no winter weather expected tonight. However, as you get into the morning, that's when you need to stay weather aware through the whole day tomorrow. And like I said, we'll have team coverage. We'll keep everything updated on our website as much as we can on social media and out live in the field. We'll do, Facebook Lives when we can and things like that to keep you all updated. If you do not have any other questions, I will go ahead and close this down and feel free to rewatch this and break it down. There's a video, like I said, at the top of the blog. You can click on that. It's a 7 minute long video, but I broke down all the details that you need to know for planning your day tomorrow. If I don't have any other questions, we good, Van?
So main stuff in the Tri-Cities around 3 or 4 a.m. Is that...
The main stuff in the so the main batch of rain, I'll scroll back down again. That'll be around the dawn hours. So basically let me go back. Here to our weather tab. Actually, it's right here. If it'll load. Around dawn. So like the kind of 5, 6 o'clock. Oh dear. I guess I clicked on bath fitter by accident there. This is what I meant to click on. Unless it's bath fitter, then apparently it's a bath fitter ad instead of a blog. But there's the video. And then as far as timing goes, we'll show you that real quick. So notice snow in the mountains. If you're asking about that, that could start as early as after midnight because of the snow already starting to push into southwest North Carolina. And then into the morning hours of our Sunday, notice here in the Tri-Cities, really from about the 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, really through probably 6 o'clock starting to really move in, we'll start to see that freezing rain. But the freezing rain will be probably from about the 6 o'clock through maybe the 9 o'clock hour, 10 o'clock, we'll start to warm things up as we go into the middle part of the morning into the afternoon. And so that's when we'll start to see that transition to rain. And then we'll start to see the rain kind of dissipate with those drying winds. Great questions. Anybody else have any other questions?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Kind of an 11 at 10, I guess, for weather special. But we're going to continue to keep you updated tomorrow. The whole team's there, Jeremy, Mark, and myself, and we're going to continue to watch it. Keep you updated, keep you safe, keep you informed, and stay safe out there and have a great evening.